Today we're turning chords into vibes, making a smooth R&B beat inspired by SZA and Kendrick Lamar. And we just need two chords to get this going. So you can see here, the first chord is going to be D minor ninth. Now, when you're doing something smooth, jazzy, neo-soul, R&B, it's usually good to do a 7th or 9th chord. So in this case, we're going to be working in the C major scale, so just all white notes, so simple. And we're going to start off with the first chord as this. So that's just a D minor, but then you can add the 7th, and then make it even nicer. We'll do the 9th. And then for the second chord, we just move everything down one to the left. Now we've got the C major 9th. And that's the only two chords we're going to use for this. It's that simple. So let's start just by recording that in. You can see I'm just using a piano sound and analog lab. For any R&B beat, I like to always start with the piano just to get the chords going. So the cool thing is, because we're working in the C major scale, which is all the white notes, with your right hand you can literally play any top line melody and sort of feel it as you go along and it will sound good. Now a big thing when you're making R&B beats is layering. That's one of the key focuses on what we're going to do here. So you can see I've just dragged this layer down into another analog lab and it's just going to play the exact same notes, nothing different. We'll just EQ out the lows and some of the low mids. I want to keep the sort of sparkleness of it. And then together it starts to fill out a bit more. And I'm going to layer it again because why not? Do something that can fill out some of those lower mids which we've already taken out. So again, I'll drag this down. This time though, we will take out that top line melody. We just want to have the chords here just to emphasize that progression a bit more. So now all together, you've got something a lot more luscious. Now we group this together and this is going to be our chords group. We'll let that just sit there for now in the background and we can start layering on top of it some more interesting accents and phrases. Now the samples that I'm going to use today to find these phrases and accents are going to be from the Liminal music library. Now this is a new music library that I've been using nearly every single day. All of my beats, my beat channel are taking advantage of these insane sounds. Let me tell you that the melodies and sounds I've been getting from their kits recently has been so fire that I'm never going to look back again. So I highly recommend checking them out. The link will be down in the description and there's also a code that you can use to get 30% off. So make sure you check them out and you'll see the insane samples you can start using to do the sort of beats that I like to make. A lot of Kendrick stuff, a lot of Tyler the Creator sort of vibes. So I've just searched in A minor, which is the same as C major, and I'm just going to find different phrases and sounds I can just drag in and chop out bits I like. Let's find another sound. So they're really subtle, just a nice little sort of transition between the bars before the guitar comes in. Let's try a choir sound. Again, turning it down, I just like to layer all these sounds, turn them relatively low in the mix and have them sparsely throughout the arrangement, and it keeps things interesting at all times. Try another guitar sound. EQ out everything except for the highs. So now we've got this whole melody group, which is ready to do some cool stuff. So first thing I want to do is just adjust some of the levels to make sure that there's nothing that's too overpowering. And now we can also start processing the entire group. So first thing I want to do is just some OTT. And we can try some RC20 on it, which is always good for group processing, I find. Now, a lot of the time people bounce this all to audio, but I like to have a lot of control right until the end. Now we can move on to one of the fun parts of the melody for me, which is the strings. Now, after listening to Luther quite a lot, the strings in there are so luscious, so beautiful, and constantly changing. So we want to take inspiration from that. We're going to start off with a simple string layer. Now when it comes to strings, again, layering is a really key concept. So what I like to do is create that one little MIDI line, and then we're just going to duplicate the track and change it to like a viola, cello, whatever. And we're just going to keep going on like this. I like to do usually 4, sort of like a string quartet. So for now, we'll leave it like that. And now we've got so many different layers for the melody that we can have fun for days with the arranging. What we want to do now is the drums and the 808. Now, trap drums usually work really well. So let's just do a really basic drum pattern. We'll just do it all in audio like this. You don't really need to overcomplicate it, to be honest. Put a little roll there, I think, maybe. You can add in some perk sounds, an open hat, cowbell, whatever, but as a foundation, that's all we're going to need. And then we'll just do an 808, just literally following that D and C pattern. And that's how simple it can be to make a smooth R&B trap beat. Once you build out the progression, start adding in all the layering and textures, and then from there you let the vocalist add their magic, and you've got a luscious smooth R&B track.